gonna illustrate telekinetics.
Telekinetics?
I'm not. Yep.
I
James hates eggs.
I don't know what telekinetics is. I mean, I know what.
I have no clue what it is either.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm gonna be a manga artist one day. One day.
I don't.
Anyway,
I don't know if you're
so is
allowed.
this actually like the Sam podcast, or we're just
Yeah, I'm
talking?
recording it now.
Okay. Hello,
I mean,
Sam
yeah.
podcast.
Hi. I started Sam lore. We're doing Sam lore now. So I will read out what has come so
My head
far.
hurts.
Have you read all of it?
No.
Okay, I'll read it to you, so you don't have to hurt your little head.
Yeah.
Genesis 1. In the beginning, Sam created the heavens and the earth. At this
This is
time,
like
the
the
earth
type
was
of thing to fall
formless
asleep
and
to.
shapeless, and a void. The spirit of Sam moved across the faces of the earth, and Sam said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Sam saw that the light was good, so he separated it from the dark. He called the light day and the dark night. See, I spelled dark night like dark night.
Dark night.
Sam created the
Uh,
firmament to divide the waters above and the waters below, and he created dry so that there could be land. Then Sam said, on the third day, let the grasses and the trees and
what's
the herb.
firmament?
It's like it's the dome that the Jews used to believe in when they thought the Earth was flat, and it's the dome that like holds the water away, and then the firmament like what and they thought that when it rained, the firmament they thought the sky was blue because there was
There's
water
water above it.
above. Yeah, and the firmament was like a glass
Oh,
dome above them, and it would like break sometimes, and that's why it rained. And then
that's
they also
funny.
thought there was a below firmament, so like when that broke, that's when it like flooded. Um,
That's funny.
on the fourth day, the sun, moon, and stars were made. On the fifth day, Samson decided to bring forth life upon the barren planet. He created creatures of land, of seas, and creatures of the skies. On the sixth day, Sam created the creatures of the land and man. And on the seventh day, Sam was very tired and quite exhausted from all the hard work he had done, so he decided that he would rest because he was a tired little Sammy. Genesis 2.
That little Jew.
No, God's not Jewish. God doesn't have a religion, because God
Yeah, but
is the
Sam's a
religion.
Jew.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. On the seventh day, Sam had rested and proclaimed that from that day forth, Sunday would be a day of rest.
You spelled fourth wrong.
I don't know which fourth it is. I actually thought
It's
about that.
F-O-R, Because fourth is like
I know
a
that's the
number.
number.
Like, well, no, because like F-O-R-T-H, that's like that day forward.
I've
So
never
fourth.
I've never even used that word before, so I wouldn't even know. You could change it.
Okay.
I gave you. You're the only one who has permission. You and Sam are the only ones who have
I
permission to
can't. I
change
can't
Sam lore.
edit. I can't edit messages.
Yeah, in this one, I
I
gave you
can't edit
permission
your
to edit ones in
messages.
these. Oh, you can't edit my
Not
messages.
yours. No.
Uh,
I
one day a mist came down upon the earth.
could delete the message though.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, you fixed it. Okay.
No, because then it would be out of order. Plus, I'm not gonna rewrite this entire thing because F fourth
Yeah.
is misspelled.
Man and woman were naked.
Well, because there was only
You
one
gonna
of
keep
each.
reading?
There was only one of
Can
each.
you read
Yeah.
Genesis 3?
No, I have to finish two.
All right.
Sam said man was needed to till. See, in the Bible, there's two times that man is created for the first time. So it's kind of,
Why?
I don't know.
That's a plot hole.
Yeah, it's a pretty big one too. The second one's like, Sam told. Oh shit! Wait. So Sam came down into the earth and grasped the dust with his whole hand. See, that's a reference to when Sam like grabs things with his entire hand. You know what I mean? And he breathed life through the nostril through his into his nostrils. So in the Bible, he God like makes a statue out of dust and then just like blows air into its nostrils. And then it
It's
turns into a
funny.
person. Sam names the man Ted.
He gives the statue CPR.
Yeah, the breath of life. He placed Ted in the Garden of Eden. There, there he was put with many fruits, with trees of many fruits. Sam told Ted to come and eat the fruit. And Sam, I My eyes went like my vision got like a lot worse after I had COVID. I think that's like not good, so I'm gonna probably see a doctor for that. I had COVID, by the way, on podcast, and I can't taste anything anymore.
What happened to your finger?
Oh, I put a grape peel over it,
Okay.
and I just said I got a bruise. It was just. Wait, did you think I like actually slammed it in the door and it turned
No,
purple?
no, I was just wondering what that was. At first, I thought you just like colored it with like a marker or something because it looked really fake.
Sam told Ted he could eat any fruit in the garden except the tree of sacred knowledge. Sam then
The
asked,
tree of Satan.
"No,
The tree of Sam Juice.
Satan doesn't exist in the Old Testament. Come on."
The tree of Sam Juice.
Sam then tasked Ted with naming every animal. So Sam felt Ted. What?
Wait, Declan. So there should be a fruit that makes Sam Juice. That's what the apple is.
Okay, I'll put that in the abortion one in Numbers, the book of Numbers.
Okay.
That's a while away though. There's 50 chapters in Genesis.
The glossary.
I think I'm gonna skip some of the bad chapters, or the boring ones, where it's just like God instructing them not to wear certain types of clothing.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
tired.
no. So Sam. Sam felt that Ted was lonely. So Sam pulled out one of Ted's ribs and created a woman with it to companion man. Ted named her Margaret. Genesis 3. Man and woman were naked, and they were not ashamed of it. The serpent was sly, seething, evil, and niggardly.
Whoa.
Little cre Oh, was a sly, seething, niggardly little creature. uh, he came up to Margaret and told her he would gain the power equal or greater than Sam if he were to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge. Margaret was persuaded and to told Ted come to the tree. At the tree, she told Ted what the snake had said. Ted was reluctant, but eventually persuaded the wench to eat the fruit. Was eventually persuaded by the wench to eat the fruit.
The wench.
They ate the fruit, and Margaret suddenly got the urge to oppress the Irish and kill coal miners, which neither of whom had existed yet. And Ted suddenly got the urge to send bombs to the mailboxes of politicians, who did not exist either. More importantly, they realized that they were naked and were ashamed of it. When Sam came back, he saw that they were naked and hiding it. He asked what had happened, and Margaret told him that the snake had told him to eat the fruit. Sam punished the snake forever to walk on its punished the snake to forever walk on its belly. He showed mercy, and then he showed mercy on them, and did not destroy them with facts and logic. But he punished Margaret by making childbirth painful for her and all women after, and they were kicked out of the garden. They were now able to die, for man is from dust and shall return to dust. Their descendants will live in with hardship that would never have been possible in the garden. Sam sent angels, Cookie, and Oreo to guard the gates of the garden so that man cannot return. Genesis 4. Margaret was impregnated by Ted on 2 occasions. The children's names were Jack and Hannibal. Sam told Hannibal to be a farmer and Jack to be a herder. They were told to burn offerings to Sam in the form of their harvest. Sam preferred the meat, so he praised Jack for it. Hannibal was jealous, so he brought Jack into a field and crushed his head with a rock. He then proceeded to eat Jack's body. Sam came home and asked where Jack was. Hannibal responded by saying, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Sam was furious. "The rivers and the lands turn red with the flowing blood of your brother. Uh, the eternal screams of the first fallen man echo around the world, for you have forsaken me and your brother today." Sam put a mark on Hannibal and cursed him to walk the earth forever. With this mark, it was known that it was forbidden to kill you. Shit, I wrote Cain. Fuck, I used like the I used like the Bible one.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Because I was doing it from memory, and I forgot that I was doing like and left his farm and made love to his wife, who bore a child named Jebediah, who would later marry a woman who would bear a child named Edward, who would bear a child named Micah, who would bear a child named Francis, who was the father of all people who played string instruments. He he had a brother named Bish Bishla, B, B, Blish Blishmanchun, who was a father of all who forged iron and bronze, who he himself had a cousin named Spoinkcho, who who was an ancestor of all who lived in tents. And Sam told Ted that they could have another child to replace Jack, whose name would be Ortho, who had a son named Ben. As all the people called out for their lords, the reign of man would start on earth. And that's Genesis 4.
Hooray.
I can't wait until we get into the new. In the last book of the Old Testament, or no, in the beginning of the Gospel of Luke, there's this like 4 page long genealogy that just shows every descendant and relative of from Adam to Jesus. So it's just like 4 pages of just saying like, Michael was the son of Mishkabel, and Mishkabel was the son of Luke, and Luke was the son of John, and it was like, and it's just
Lishkabel.
yeah, they're pretty
I'm
funny.
tired, man. Sam's not gonna get on. I know that. Oh God, it's almost 1.
Hmm.
Uh,
They took. Do you want to know what they got rid of?
sleep. What they got rid of?
They got rid of fuck. They got rid of the cool game on Discord.
Oh yeah, they
Sketchheads.
replaced it with like chess.
No, they replaced it with
So
checkers, but
stupid.
then they replaced checkers with chess.
It's so stupid.
You want to play chess?
I'm not on my computer.
Oh, darn it. Hmm. Why don't I read the manifesto? We are
What
Cherubil.
manifest?
Oh, in the Ecumenical Council
For what?
for the religion.
The religion manifesto.
Yeah. We are true
Uh,
believers of Sam. We are here to document the true and accurate happenings throughout the whole of Sam lore. We aim to be as
oh,
true
that.
as possible. A wise man once said, "My goal in life is to know as many true things as possible and avoid knowing false." These are the words we live and stand by. As scribes, we feel that the word of the greater Sam with us. We feel the words of the greater Sam within us and write down those words of Sam, his mouth to our hand. Of course, there are some issues that I wrote this at like 3 a.m. Of course, there are some issues with that. There may be inaccuracies and mistranslations somewhere between the word of Sam and the hand of the scribes. This is why we have made this council, to discuss the errors in the canon that only occur because of the imperfections of man, and only from man because Sam is perfect. The Ecumenical Council is the sole place we are able to discuss Sam lore, and the channels named for biblical books are to have no discord occurring in them. Only, and I mean only, sacred scripture divinely inspired by our Lord. With that in mind, welcome to the council.
Dude, I gotta go to bed.
Why?
Sleepy. I gotta wake up early tomorrow. I'm not early, but I want to get like 8 hours of sleep. I'm
Imagine.
not. I'm probably not gonna. I'm not gonna anyway. That's sad. Good
Hmm.
night, Sam. Podcast. Oh, Declan, just spend the rest of it just like reading out all of Sam lore.
That is all of Sam lore. That's all I've written down so far. You think I can't write that much?
Okay, bye.
Bye. I'll write Sam lore on stream. Hmm. I guess I'm writing more Sam lore. what happens in Genesis 5 anyway? When Adam. Jesus Christ, it's just a timeline of like a 30 people's deaths. Um. You're kidding. I might as well just like copy and paste all of these dates because I'm never gonna get these. 777. Do do do. Raid and Sam podcast. Bro, that's so stupid. Oh my god. I don't want the James King version of the Bible. Um, yeah, here we go. Seriously? Enoch, Jesus Christ. Does anything even happen in this, like, Genesis 5? I thought I remembered this one. I thought this was like when they introduced Noah. Bro, it's letting me edit this version of the Bible. Bible Wikipedia. Father of Shem? Who the hell is Shem? Oh. Oh. I don't like that. That's weird. Huh. Is it actually just another genealogy? Genesis 5? Yeah, it's just a. I don't. That's why. We're skipping Genesis 5 and going to Genesis 6. You know what? No, we are not. I hate copying and pasting this, but it's the only way. I'm not typing this out by hand. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24, 25, 28, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, and oh, I forgot there was that guy named Ham. It's Ham. Ham was always funny. I don't know if he did anything. He may have, he may not have. I don't know. Most of these people are never mentioned again, and I don't feel like coming up with names, because then I'll run out of names of people I actually know, because they name off, like, they just name drop about, they name drop, like, God knows how many names in the Bible. More than names that I even know, really, because most of them are just fucking made up, like, 1,000 year ago names, like Ezekiel and Ishkabel and Nebuchadnezzar. So it's like, Adam is Ted. For those of you who do not know this, yeah, Ted is actually named after him, or Ted is actually named for Adam, and Seth is supposed to be. Then his name would be Ortho, so Seth is Ortho. I know. I probably shouldn't have even changed his name, but I'm gonna have to skip a bunch of chapters later on when I have to do these genealogies, and I changed like a bunch of these random people's names, and I have no idea who they're changed for. So I'm not gonna be doing any more genealogies. And yeah, that's when it's gonna get hard, because obviously everyone who watches the Sam podcast is interested in Sam lore. So, yeah. It's me talking to myself, Fuck, who's Enosh? Enosh is the son of Seth, whose name is Ben. I don't know how I remember that. That's like 3 a.m. me typing. I'm not changing who he was the father of. Imagine writing a book and making up all of these names in like the original Bible. I mean, god damn it. That's gotta just be like, how do you know that many names? Like, it comes to a point where you have to think to yourself, like, this guy is either insane or, like, that's it. I mean, god damn. Yeah, the funniest part is no one's even gonna read this one. If ever. I mean, I'm not reading this out if we ever do a vocal version of Sam lore, which probably will happen at some point. I do plan on. Fuck, who's Enoch? Did we get to him yet? I don't even care now. I think that's it. Well, that means there's an A I have to look for. Yep, right here. Yeah. Um, I remember reading about Lamech and Ham. Ham does something, I think. Ham either does something or he just has a name that I remember, or there's another guy named Ham. What's this? Fog warning? Air quality alert? Bro, what? Is it like misty? Does that cause air problem? That's weird. I gotta figure. I've never had that happen. Track air pollution. It says it's fair, and they're sending out an alert for this stuff. We got good nitrous oxide. Thank God. That's like that really bad one. We got a lot of ozone. At least I think that's ozone. O3 is ozone. PM. I don't know what PM is. Particulate matter. Air pollutants that dismiss 10 microcentimeter. I don't even know what that means. Or I know what it means, but I don't know what that is. And PM again, fine particle matter. So like, huh? 32 micrograms per cubic meter. 70. So we have like really bad ozone right now. Huh. I mean, if our air quality is fair, why are they sending out an alert to say not to go out? Oh, it's dense fog? No. Oh, it's all of these places. 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Well, it's 1 a.m. right now. Air quality is predicted to be a greater air quality index of 100 pollutant to air ground level of ozone. Air quality index, or AQI, was created as an easy way to correlate levels. AQI is great. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Hmm. Huh. Toll-free air quality hotline. Call 1-800-535-1345 and ask, is this the Krusty Krab? That's funny. Because that's the air quality hotline. Huh. Okay. Well. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we're splitting this up into two parts. Genesis 4 dash. Oh, don't copy that. Just, what? There is a space there. I knew it. Good, good, good. Um. Okay, Genesis 6. It's gonna be the story of sin. The Nephilim were on Earth those days, and afterward, gods. And why don't I just do a Bible read aloud? Oh my God, that's a good idea. I'm just gonna do a Bible read aloud. Okay, let's go. go. Let's go. Close out Discord. I don't know how to change this. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, let's go. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless, empty and empty. Darkness was all over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And thereafter there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So he made the vault and separated water from water. What Bible is this? Nah, 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 bad Bible. Bad Bible. Let's do this. Can I like zoom in? Pretty sure I can. I just don't know how. Uh, uh, that's a lot of pages. There we go. And I'll put it on like my automatic cursor thing. In the beginning. In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and a void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light was good. God saw the light, and that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness, and called the light day and the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be the firmament in the midst, the firmament," that's what I was talking about, "in the midst of the waters, and divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament and divided the waters, which there was the firmament from the waters, which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under heaven be gathered together unto a place, and let dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of all the waters he called the seas. And God saw that it was good, and said, "Let the earth bring forth grasses, and herb of yielding seed, and the fruit of tree yielding, and fruit after his kind, whose seeds is in itself upon the earth." And it is so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yieldings, seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, what Bible is this? The Holy Bible. Okay, thanks. King James, that one they gave us in school. I don't even know. Okay, whatever, I don't care. I'm not religious. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament and of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let there be signs for seasons, and for days and years, and let there be lights in the firmament and of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made these two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set upon them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundancy in the moving of creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and sea. I don't know what version of the Bible this is, because this definitely is a simplified version of some of the original translations, because they wouldn't have said anything about whales, because they didn't have a concept of whales, because like later in the Bible they say that like Jonah was eaten by a big fish, which you would think would be a whale, swallowed whole. But I don't even know, because what would that be based on? You know, obviously they're basing massive fish that could eat people. Like they're in the African, they're in like you know that part of the water in the Mediterranean by just some ASMR. Yeah, um, you know where Egypt is? They're by that area, so like I assume they have whale or had whales there, if any are still there. I know they probably had dolphins, but even then, a whale can't swallow a person. But they're in that part by Egypt, you know, where like how the river goes down into the water and by the Mediterranean. Uh, the river lets out like that's probably where they are around there, because later on in the Bible, I have a map. I'm not gonna look it up. Whatever. It's just a whale. Who cares? Brr, brr, brr. They just didn't know what whales were, probably. So it's weird that they would put that in there. And I don't know where I am. Let's see. God, he created whales and every living creature that moveth, moveth, bruh, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after its kind. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creatures after his kind, cattle and creeping things, the beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. God made beast of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let us make man in our image. See, God, little known fact about the Bible, many people don't know this, but Judaism is a monotheistic religion, which means that they believe in one God, but they didn't believe in one God. They just followed one God. Throughout the Bible, there are like tons of other examples of other gods existing. Like when they're in Exodus, like this, they just follow the strongest God that they believe in. But like in Exodus, for example, there's example of another god named Baal who is shown to actually exist. So technically they're polytheistic, but they only follow one, so they are monotheistic. But so like the god Baal is shown to exist because he lets them do like this miracle, and they like see it. So then like, but God does like a better miracle. So like they're like turn your staffs into snakes, and then whoever's god is the greater snake or something like that. And all like all like the pharaohs, like priests, are able to do it because they worship this like one evil god named Baal. At least that's the only god I remember. There's a bunch of them, but that's the only guy I remember specifically. He's mentioned a lot, and yeah, they don't like him, but like he exists. So it's kind of like a weird thing to actually even like think about, you know, because like usually you're taught your entire life that like Catholicism and Judaism and Islam are monotheistic. I don't actually know much about Islam personally, but it's an Abrahamic religion, which means it's based off of Abraham. So I assume they believe in the Old Testament. So all those religions technically believe in other gods' existences. So if they are real, that means that other gods do exist. So it's kind of funny to think about that. You know what I mean? That like technically in every most of the major religions in the world, like almost every major religion in the world, like they all have multiple gods. They just don't only believe in one. And like I go to Catholic school, and they'll say stuff like, "Oh, Catholicism is so different because they only believe in one God, and a lot of other religions don't actually believe in one God. That's why our religion is so unique and correct." Like, no, though, like, no, not really, because I don't know. But let's get back to it. How did I even get onto that? I don't know. I hope the audio is good because I'm talking kind of quiet, so I don't want it like none of this to be heard. That would be upsetting. Let's see. So yeah, because he said our image. So yeah. Oh, you know what? I bet he might be saying our because this is like a Christian. So God might be referring to himself as like a Godhead kind of thing, where he's like three in the same. So he's like Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So he's referring to himself as all three at the same time, even though they're still one. If you're not a Catholic, it's a really weird concept. I think it's kind of dumb. But yeah. So he created man in his own image. And God created him. Male and female created. Male and female created he them. Did someone like fucking type this Bible by hand? What is this? I mean, obviously someone did type, but like, what is that? I don't know. Whatever. Can I? Oh, I can. And God blesses them, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have your dominion over the fish, and over the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of this earth, and every. Speaking of herbs, fun fact about bananas. I learned this from Game Theorist, so reliable source. Bananas are actually technically herbs. The banana itself. Oh no, shit. I think the plant is an herb and the banana is a berry, or something like that. Yeah, because the plant itself doesn't have a stem. It's actually just made up of a bunch of leaves. Which I think is kind of funny. That like the banana tree is an herb, which you usually think is like basil, parsley, rosemary, which are usually like tiny plants. Actually, I have a rosemary plant in my yard. It's like pretty big, because they're like bushes kind of. Because it does have like a little trunk stem thing. Huh. Yeah, but they grow directly out of the wood, so it's like kind of like the leaves, except they're not really leaves. They kind of look like I mean, I assume you know what rosemary is, but it's kind of like the like a pine tree, except it's not pointy. It's like a blunted pine tree, so it's kind of yeah, it's cool. Rosemary. It keeps mosquitoes away. Mosquitoes don't like the smell. It has like a strong smell, which is why it's an herb. Usually herbs have stronger like flavors, so they could be used in cooking. Solo Sam podcast, by the way, first time ever. Let's go. Uh, yeah. Herb which upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which the fruit of the yielding tree, to you it shall be for meat. Meat, bro, what? Okay. and for every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given you green herb for meat. And it is so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And that evening and the morning were the sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work God created and made. Man in the Garden of Eden. Oh my god, it's chapter 2, guys. Ah, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth. When they were created in the day of the Lord, God made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no man, a man till the ground. Bro, what? There was no man, there was not a man to till the ground, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered down the whole face of the ground. Sorry, it's like Genesis 2. Look, Genesis 2. It's like 1:30 in the morning. So, I mean, what else am I gonna do? Fucking like watch Game of Thrones, you know? Like I'm not gonna do that. I might as well just do this. I'm actually enjoying this quite a bit. Ironically, just talking to myself, talking to you, technically, but I'm really just speaking my thoughts right now. That's about it. And the Lord God formed a man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. See, that's the thing where he like turns the dirt into like a person. You share dust and shall return to dust. He says that later. You were dust and you shall return to dust. That's what he says. And the Lord God planted the garden eastward of Eden, and there he put a man who he had formed, and out of the ground the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to sight and good for food. And the tree of life also is in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the river went out of Eden to the garden, and to the water of the garden, bro. What? And from thence it was part, and became into four heads. The name of the first is Pizen, which is the compasseth the whole land, compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and onyx stone, and the name, that's the Pokemon, and the name of the second river, Gihon, the same is that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. Bro, that Ethiopia's pretty big. I wonder what Ethiopia they're talking about here. Ooh, Ethiopia fact time. Ethiopia was actually the only place to not be colonized until Italy. That was after like colonization age. That was for different reasons. And that was more of an occupation than a colonization. But they survived the whole thing because they were supplied by, I want to say, the French with guns, so they were able to like gain their independence. And they had this really cool geography where the entire, I don't think it was the French, it might have been like right before the age of colonization, or right before anyone got to them. They had like guns and stuff from someone who supplied them. It might have been Britain, or maybe it was, I don't know, one of those two probably. I'm saying probably. So they did that, and their entire center was just like mountains. So like all the arable land that they could farm on, that was all on just the outer regions of the nation. So they could just protect that and just that. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't even remember. They just had a weird geography. So yeah, they were just never colonized Ethiopia. So they were always independent, really, which is why they were like one of the first. Them and Liberia, I think, which was like where America. They used to send like black people there because they were like when they freed the slaves, they were like, well, we don't really want you here. So they were like, you want to just go back to Africa? And then they're like, some of them were like, yeah, sure. And the America used to just support this like colony in Africa named like it was pretty big, I think. And they were like, oh yeah, you guys are pretty rich for a while. And then the U.S. was like, yeah, no one else is really going here. Do you really need more support anymore? And they're like, yeah, we're kind of like relying on you guys. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll stay. Actually, we'll just take all this money out and spend it on the military. And yeah, no bueno, no bueno. Uh, Ethiopia. The name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it, which goeth towards the east of Assyria, and fourth the rivers of the Euphrates. Oh. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For it is the day thou eatest, therefore thou shalt surely die. And the Lord said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make the man help for him. And out of the ground the Lord formed every beast in the field and every fowl in the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called everything living creature, that was the name thereof. He named every animal. He just named every animal Adam. And Adam gave names to the cattle and the fowl of the air and every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a help to meet him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep upon Adam, and he slept. And he took out one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from the man made he a woman. Wow. Transsexuality. Never thought the Bible would endorse that. Just kidding. And he brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, Hebisha. Oh, that's Israeli. Because she was taken out of man, Hebish. Thereafter the man shall leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto the wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. So, this is actually. This is why the Catholics hate gays. This is one of the few times, which probably wasn't even the initial translation, but that's what they changed it to be. And, or maybe this one was it, but they just decided to interpret it this to mean no gay marriage. Which, by the way, it's actually been. A lot of historians believe that. I'm pretty sure the majority of them believe. Or that it's more than likely that Jesus was a homosexual. And he actually, had sex with John, who was one of his disciples. Who ironically was like 14 years old, and he was like 30. But that was fine at the time, I guess. But yeah, they were like gay, because a lot of. So, back in that time, that was back when like being gay was like fine, but like if you were a top, it was fine, you know. Like if you're the one doing the fucking of the man, then it's like, oh yeah, you're just a guy who's just doing his own thing, which is how it probably should be. But if you're a bottom, it's like, oh, you're a more feminine man, and then they're like, that's about it, and no one really cared. You were just a more feminine man if you took it in the butt. But yeah, Jesus was likely having sex with John, one of his disciples, not Mary of Magdalene, which a lot of people thought was his wife. Probably less likely to be the case than it would be for him. Maybe at some point, but there's a couple of passages where like they show it. I don't have the exact quotes off the top of my. I mean, I have the Bible right here. I don't feel like looking for it. I assume this goes to the New Testament, right? Yeah, probably. Well, that's just something interesting. They use this to defend like bad gay stuff because they say like wife and man and no man and man. But why would you specify that? You know, if it's like the normal thing is gay, and these guys probably had no concept of gay. And if they did, they probably didn't even think of it when they were like writing the story, because they probably didn't even, because it was probably really expensive to write the book. So not that I doubt that had anything to do with it. Honestly, I doubt it even said that to begin with. But now the serpent was more suitable than any of the beasts of the field which the Lord had made, and he turned unto the woman. Ye hath God said, Ye shall not eat every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of all the trees of the trees in the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye doth eat thereforth, then your eyes shall open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit and thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them were both opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. That's why they wear like fig leaves. This is original sin. This is why they baptized me. I want to get to the circumcision story, but that's not for another, like, what is this, chapter 2? So we're gonna have to get through like 5 more chapters. Yep, chapter 3 right here. I think it's like chapter 7 or 8 when Abraham. They changed his name actually. There's a lot of covenants with God. Whoops. Whoops. There's a lot of covenants with God that they do where they're like, oh, cut off your penis. Brr. And they heard the voice of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, See, if you're gonna like translate the Bible, like you have to add these stupid ass words like shouldest not eat if you're gonna translate it to have the word whale instead of like fish. Like that's just stupid. That wasn't even in the original Bible. I'm telling you. The original Bible was in Aramaic. This thing was translated like 50 times. This is 100% not the same book. If you were going to like uh try and preserve it by saying Old English, because like ooh, like there are some people out there who probably think that like the people of Jesus' time just spoke in Old English. Like I'm sure a large percentage of America thinks like that. I know that 50% of Americans don't believe in evolution. Like more than half. I think 40% actually believe in evolution. 10% are like divided, and 50% believe in this. They believe this book right here. There are some places where this book is taught in schools, despite that being illegal, and no one does anything about it because it's not hurting anyone. Yeah, but it does hurt people when systematic oppression. That sounds kind of stupid, but the way I said it. But when people believe things like religion, you, there's a lot of things that come about with it. For example, the Bible can definitely spread hate. I know that it does do some good things, but take abortion for example. Yeah, let's. Maybe, I don't know. Let's not talk about that. Uh, Whatever. I don't know. It's just like for like in when I read Frederick Douglass in school, they said that religion made the masters more like evil because they became more. They believe when they became religious, they believed that they were more justified for their sins. And I'll get back to this later on because in the chapter after this, in like Cain and Abel, there's this one really racist thing that they did for a while, despite the fact that all these people who wrote this were probably black and Jesus was probably black. So, or at least like like he looks like the type of guy that like Middle Eastern probably, you know. Uh, yeah, let's just keep reading. Uh, and the man said, "The woman whom gaveth." I don't think that's the cur whom thou gaveth to me. That might be the correct use of whom. I I don't think that's the correct usage of whom. I don't feel like checking it though. She gave me the woman whom thou gavest to me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent be- beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast on the field. Upon thy belly thou shalt go, and the dust thou shalt eat all day of thy life. And I will put an enmity, enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and and I shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise thy heel upon the woman, he said. And I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. That means, he's gonna be an ass and make childbirth really painful. So, you know how, like, childbirth for, like, a dog isn't painful, or, like, a giraffe? Like, you see giraffe births and they just fall out. Childbirth, they're trying to explain why it's painful, even though, like, we have a nice God. So, which nice in air quotes God. So he's really just being an ass. But they in real life, like in real life, humans like back when we were like smaller brained people, like monkeys and stuff, we would be able to give birth just fine. But we got too smart too fast because of like our diets and stuff. We had like shit, I forgot what was in our diets, but we had like really good diets for a while, and we had to become like two-legged because all the trees disappeared, so we started to stand up straight. So then like actually most animals, we'll get back to what I was talking about before. Most animals, like they have boobs, right? But only when they're making milk. But people have them when they're not. So a lot of scientists believe that humans always have boobs because we're the only like bipedal mammals, and like when we got off the ground, um, we were farther away from like the vagina, right? So we needed something like to be sexually appealing right in front of us men, that is, and that's why they have the boob, like all the time. Of course, like it's just a theory, but I think it makes some amount of sense. But like, why? I can't think of another reason. But I haven't read on that in a while, so maybe the thought changed. Um, so right, childbirth actually got like painful because our head size, it evolved faster than like the vagina could like keep up with it. And now we're at a point where like selective like what's it called? Natural selection doesn't really apply that much anymore because people just like go based on sexual desire rather than necessity. So I don't think that's ever gonna evolve out of us, or it might, but it probably won't. Uh, well, we got too smart, right? So our brain sizes just kept growing, but the the vagina didn't grow along with it. So now it like the bones have to shift and it tears and it's really painful because we're just too smart. We're too smart, you know. We beat the system, but you know, I'm never gonna feel that. But kidney stones, small price to pay for existence, I guess, which I didn't consent to, but that's a topic for another day. Nihilism. Um, I don't know what this means. And between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, and it shall bruise thy heel. I think this means that like I don't know what that means. Between thy seed and her seed. I mean, I feel like it's talking about penis and vagina, and but whose head is being bruised? Is it talking about like the head of the penis? I I think it might be talking about like that little like thing that's like you know the hymen, right? Maybe, and that's what's bruising. But I don't even think that that's not even like a thing. Thou shalt bruise thy heel. I don't thy heel. Maybe it's just saying that you get hurt. I think it's just saying that you can get hurt now. So you know, whatever. I will greatly multiply with sorrow of conception. In that sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Yeah, more patriarchy stuff. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast heart-seeked unto the voice of thy wife, hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Genesis 4, let's get hype. This is when they get kicked out. Oh, or they're already out. I don't know. We're already in the process. Thorns and thistles shall bring it forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Imagine eating herbs. I mean, it has to have a different definition, but I can't fucking. I mean, there had to be a people at some. Like, I think about stuff like this. Like, at some point, there was a person who farmed garlic for himself to eat, and just only ate garlic. I mean, I'm sure he traded it, but imagine the focal point of your diet just being garlic. Now imagine it's like fucking like cinnamon, which I mean that didn't start being massively cultivated until like the late 1800s. But imagine something like basil or like imagine living on basil, like asparagus only, cabbage. There's still people that do that because of all like the poverty caused by the capitalist system, but God, that's crazy. Like, I can just go to the store and buy, like, a fucking avocado that was grown 5,000 miles away. I could buy a blueberry that was grown in Chile for, like, cheaper than an avocado, which is something that most people probably hadn't even eaten. I've probably eaten more types of. I've probably eaten more foods from farther away than anyone else in existence. So is the average person, like, here. I've probably traveled farther than any of my relatives have. And, like, ever, really. Like, unless I'm related to some kind of explorer, you know? God. It's crazy to think that, like, how cultures can change so much, like, with technological innovation. Like, these are the things that we gain from the Industrial Revolution, first and second, and the consequences are grim, but we're trying our best. Or, no, we're not trying our best, but we're saying we're trying to stop it, and we have stopped a lot of the problems that have come from it, but there's still a lot of problems left that need to be fixed, including our current economic system. And, you know, but what are you gonna do, Like, what are you gonna do? Anything? Yeah, no, no. Nothing's gonna happen. Which is why I've been thinking about actually getting into politics myself. I already read a lot about this stuff, and oh, that's actually funny. Up here, oops, up here, I got like tabs for like shit. I was doing research for a project I'm doing in school. Excuse me, what if the USSR developed a democratic communist system rather than a dictatorship like they had done? These are some cool stats I found that I really like. So, this is in the year 1981 right here. So, infant mortality rate in capitalist nations was 131 per 1,000, and in socialist nations, it's 71 per 1,000. That's in the lower class. In the lower middle income, it's 81 deaths per 1,000 and 38 for 81 for middle. Sorry, 81 for lower middle income and 38 for lower middle income. So 38 for socialist and capitalist is like 81. So that's like a little more than 2 times the amount in capitalist nations per 1,000 dead. And then upper middle income is 42 for capitalist and 22 infant deaths per 1,000 for socialist. So that's like a big difference with capitalist being on top, obviously, or socialist being on top, and socialist being like USSR and not Vietnam, because at this time Vietnam is still in this category of recent post-revolutionary countries, which actually at times are equal to or better than capitalist standard of living, which is kind of funny that for the lower classes at least. But like, let me find another one. Like for this one right here, the daily calorie intake per capita in capitalist countries it's 94 in the low income. In socialist countries it's 107% of the daily needed. Like 120. Like that means that socialist nations were eating more than capitalist nations. That's in the lower class, and it's the same. Like with capitalists being higher in every one of these, and it's higher, and capitalism loses in everything other than higher education, but that's only in the lower income, and everything else it's almost the same or higher. And the only reason it's different in the lower income is because in lower income, a lot of the times they were probably farmers, so there wasn't much of a need for them to learn how to read. And the only reason they were lower income is probably because they could just make the food themselves, so they wouldn't need money for it. I don't even know why, but I'll obviously I'm doing research for this project still, so I have to come up with some stuff. And actually, the PQLI, which is quality of life index. I don't remember what the P stands for. The quality of life would, like the score they get in socialist would be 76 in the lower class, and then 35 in capitalism, 62 in capitalism, 83 in socialism, 81, 92, and that's in lower middle and upper middle. And there's also high income oil exporting. I don't know what high income oil exporting means. I'm gonna have to look up that up later too for the project. But for higher income, there is none for the socialist nations, so it's not there. So yeah, like God, and it's just crazy how people can be so brainwashed by the Red Scare. Like it just changes people's perception. Like like even if you don't want to go full communist, even slight social changes people will be so hard set against, even though we see that they work. Like it's more expensive for a homeless man to like With our current system, it's cheaper to actually just give homeless people houses for free than it is to do what we've been doing right now. Like, it literally costs less, which is insane. Like, we could fix homeless pretty much. But back to the Bible. Back to the Bible. I don't know how I got there, but let's see, where are we? Genesis 4. I'm just gonna start somewhere. Did I get there from herbs? I did. That's actually funny. I got there because I was talking about like how people used to have to eat one type of food, which probably wasn't even true, honestly. For out of wast taken, of thou taken, for dust thou art. Oh, that he says it. He says the thing I was talking about before. For dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return, which means they'll die and decompose, which is what I was talking about before. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, meaning living, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also, and to his wife did the Lord God make coats of skins and clothed them. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And honestly, when he says us, he might also be referring to the angels, who, like, I think they might mention them. Yeah, oh, they mention them right here, actually, the cherubim. There are other angels, too. I don't even know how many of them are actually in the Bible ever, but, there's like I forgot who the one who told Mary she was pregnant. Gabriel. Gabriel's actually also in Islam. He comes down to Muhammad and he says stuff to him. But yeah, pretty cool. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become one of us, to know good and evil, and least he put forth upon his hand, and also taken the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore, the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed him in the east of the gardens, and he placed east of the garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which had turned every way to keep way of the tree of life. Keep the way of the tree of life. God, I'm tired. I'm tired. My vision's just going blurry. I'm not actually sleepy though. And Adam knew Eve. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she was convinced, and she, oh, bruh, and she, yeah, convinced, right? Like they would need consent. Like I read convinced because I was like, yeah, I could, Adam had convinced them to have sex, but no. Adam kind of probably just did it whenever he felt like it. Probably used contraceptives too, which a lot of Catholics don't believe in nowadays. But yeah, which is probably why they only had like 5 kids throughout the 900 years he was alive. And she conceived and bare Cain. They defined bear and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in this process of time it came to pass that the Lord Cain brought. I'm gonna turn off my light. Yeah, that's nice. Lights off. God, my chair is so loud. I hope it doesn't come up in the recording very often. If I can move on this chair without it like fucking screaming, that would be nice. I hope like you can hear what I'm saying. It would be really annoying if you couldn't. I'm talking pretty quietly right now. So, hopefully it's not too bad. Let's see. Um, Cain was the tiller of the ground. And in that process of time it came to pass that Cain brought the offering of the fruit of the ground as an offering to the Lord, and Abel brought the firstlings of his flock, and of that fat thereof, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord God respect unto Abel for his offerings, but Cain and his offerings he did not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. This is stupid. God is supposed to love everyone equally in this thing, and he's telling Cain that he's like not happy with him, despite the fact that like if I remember correctly, when they offer it to him, he literally just burns it, and then God just like has it, and he's happy that they don't have it anymore. They're so it's not like, and this contradicts later in the Bible when he says to give what you have. You know what I mean? Um, they say like give what you're able to. So like there's this one thing in the Bible they show where there's this old woman. She's at the temple, and like an old poor woman and a rich man. The rich man gives like, I don't know the currencies, but let's say like the rich man gives like $1 million to the church, but he has like billions of dollars, and the old lady gives like $10 to the church, and she only has like a small amount of money. The old woman is praised more because she gave like what little she had. This defies right here because they're both giving what they have to him, which they need to survive, mind you. Like they don't have to give it to him. And God's like, "Oh no, I don't like you because you're only giving me a little bit of stuff, or not a little bit of stuff, but I don't like what you're giving me." It's probable that God assigned them to do these tasks, and even if He did, what are they both gonna do? They're both gonna be herders and shepherds. Like you can't live off of animal fat alone, or you shouldn't. That's not healthy. Also, God wants the fat. Like God's the type of God to only eat the fat off of a steak. Imagine like just leaving all the red meat and being like, ugh, gross. I only want your fats. And the only reason they do this is because back then they didn't eat for taste. They ate it for like caloric intake. They ate it for both taste and caloric intake. But if you were like poor, you would want to eat the fat because the fat would have been like the most energy. So yeah, if you want the most energy, which is why it was prized more. So like a good fat, like I can't eat fat. If I ate pure fat, I would just get a headache. Like I get like dizzy if I eat too much fat. It just feels gross, too rich. So it just shows that it's a thing of its time. That like it's like this couldn't be true because God is supposed to be eternal and all knowing. Yet he can't predict that like before he's like, "Did you eat the fruit?" And he should know that he ate the fruit because he's all knowing, all powerful. He's omnipotent, and yeah, if you're omnipotent, you know everything that will happen, everything that has happened, everything that is happening, ever, everywhere, and able to do anything at any time, anywhere. So, like when he created Adam and Eve, he knew that they were going to do something bad to him, but he still acts surprised, like he didn't know what was going to happen. Which also gets rid of the concept of free will, in my opinion, or as I see it, because if he knows everything that's going to happen, everything that will happen, everything that has happened, that means we don't have the power to choose. Because he knows that we did it before we were created, and he knows that we did it after we were created. That means he already knew it was going to happen. So do we really have a choice if he knows it's going to happen? Because like later in the Bible, he does some interfering things where he'll like throw like flaming meteors at people and stuff. He'll do this in like the raid on Jericho, where he'll like, or no, on Jericho he makes the wall fall down that's around their city, and they like sack the city and like kill and rape all these people, and it's like, bro, like what they follow like why are you telling them to like rape children? It's like disgusting. and yet there are still people who like take this book as the word of God. Like, imagine if this book was written from the perspective of people from Jericho. The people in Jericho literally didn't do anything at all. The only thing they did was not worship this one God that had never even heard of them. These are the chosen people. The chosen people are chosen by God, meaning He picks favorites. He doesn't love everybody. He doesn't like everyone. They attack them without even knowing what the other person's religion was. That's gross. Like, the concept that someone can go to hell because they were never introduced to the religion, or that they can be punished because they were never taught what this religion was, it's just gross. I don't know. God. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offerings, but Cain and his offerings had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and countenance fell. And the Lord said to Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, thou shalt not be accepted. If thou doest well, thou shalt not be accepted, and if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thy knees thou shalt be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And the Lord came unto Cain, Where where is Abel thy brother? See, this is another example of him not being omnipotent. He's asking what happens, despite the fact that he knew this would happen. He knew this would happen before he even created the earth. He knew this would happen. Otherwise, if it didn't, he's not omnipotent. But in church doctrine, it says that he is omnipotent, 100%. I literally read it in the we were reading something from an ecumenical council, or no, it was something. It was right before Mussolini's takeover of Italy. They were doing a council meeting, and they spoke. Maybe it wasn't Mussolini, but it was something in my religion class, and they made us read this document from the church, and it said that we believe that God is omnipotent, all-knowing, all-powerful. But how can you be how can we have free will, which we do apparently according to the Bible, if God is like knows it will happen? We can't be. That doesn't make any sense. I just heard somebody, so I might be quiet for a minute. I'll try and just gonna read it instead of going off on these tangents, which is pretty much the content of this video, since it's a solo man video. I mean, I didn't think I could do a solo man video. It'll start out slow. I hope there aren't just large gaps of just no talking. I'm pretty sure I've been talking like this whole time for the most part, so that'll be pretty cool to just see a video like like where it's just me, you know? Huh. And the Lord came unto Cain, Where is thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now thou art cursed. Oh, this is the part where I was going to talk about earlier. I said I would talk about this earlier, like now. And now thou art cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, thou shalt no henceforth yield unto thee strength. A fugitive, a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth, which is like a vagabond, like a nomadic person, like homeless man. It means he's going to wander the earth forever. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and thou shalt be I shall be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on this earth. It shall come to pass that every one that has findeth me shall slay me. This is the thing that's like really bad, but the church changed in their doctrine. And the Lord said unto him, Therefore, whoever hath slain Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon them sevenfold. And God's, this is the part I'm going to focus on, God, and the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest finding him, they shouldn't kill him. And Cain went out from his presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. This right here, I believe the Jehovah's Witnesses believed this doctrine up until very recently, but changing church doctrine, I think, is kind of stupid and just proves how stupid the religion is. They say, oh, we adapt. We adapt to the changes in society. But if you've been teaching something the same for like 2,000 years and then you decide, oh, by the way, we were just kidding about that, God doesn't actually believe that, it just doesn't work like that. I, I don't see it that way. You can't just decide to change something because society doesn't like it anymore. Or you can't change something like this because society doesn't like it anymore. But, wait, 1 second. Gotta check my phone. Okay, so, this line right here, I want you to take a guess. What do you think this means? I know I've told this before to, like, Lucas, but I doubt he even remembers if he does. But, the mark that he put onto Cain, a lot of religions believe that was actually black, like being black, having black skin, which I don't think was believed in this doctrine. But, the white Catholics did believe that this was true, and that's what they interpreted it upon, and the Jehovah's Witnesses believed this until, I believe, 2008 or 2013. It might have also been in the 80s. Sorry, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I don't remember, but I know that was like a big problem. So, very, very not good. But it also doesn't even make sense in the context and the time period that this was believed in, too. Like, it was believed in the 1800s, right? A lot of slave owners believed that they could own slaves because the line like this, the mark upon Cain, was Cain being black, right? So Cain was now forced to, like, do all this stuff, and Cain was, like, being punished. This was Cain. This is the sin of black people. I'm not gonna say it, but that's what they believe. I don't believe this. This is what the church believed for a while, that this original sin, or not the original sin, this sin, the first sin of murder, caused black people, which not good, not a good belief, not true, obviously, but am I my brother's keeper? When thou tillest the ground, it shall henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive, a vagabond thou shalt be. This means he can't farm anymore, which goes against, like, a lot of slave owners believe that they're allowed to own slaves to work on their plantations because of this, but it literally says that he can't farm anymore and he has to roam the world forever. So it literally does not make sense. It's not like black people can't farm. Stupidest thing I've ever heard. Insane. Utterly insane. Anyway. Lest any findings him should kill him. The mark is supposed to mean that, like, he's like, oh, well, I'll just be killed by anyone who sees me because they'll all hate me for killing my brother. And he says, I'll put this mark on you so everyone knows what you look like. And they believe that that mark is that. And he says, if anyone kills someone who has the mark, they will be punished sevenfold. So, like, you know, exponent 7. I think that's what sevenfold is, right? Isn't fold an exponent? Doesn't matter, I don't care. So that means they'll be punished if they kill him. So he's just like one of those, like, train hobos, you know, like in 1920s when they were like the guys who would ride the rails and stuff, and they would go on the train and they would have like a little stick in the baggie, and they would like go on the trains, and it was like funny. I say funny, but it was pretty. It's an aesthetic. That's what I was the hobo aesthetic. Okay. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife. Oh, here's another problem. Another plot hole right here. I don't know what this thing is. Is that a link? It's not a chapter symbol, is it? Or paragraph symbol, is it? It might be. I think that's a paragraph symbol. But, it says Cain knew his wife. Who's Cain's wife? We have Adam, Eve, but we've Adam, Eve. They bore Cain and Abel. See, and that doesn't make any sense. Where does he get a wife from? So, yeah. He builded a city and called it the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. So that's the city of Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehuel, and Mehuel begat Methuselah, and Methuselah begat Lamech, and Lamech took unto to him two wives. The names was Ada and Zillah, and Ada bore Jabal. He was the father that such that dwell in tents and such that have cattle. See, these people just come out of nowhere. Like, I have to give the guys who made the Bible credit that they would come up with all these names, which I spoke about before when I was writing the thing for the Sam lore. I don't know this many people. I don't know this many names. They take the time to think of all of these names for a made up story, yet they don't take the time to think of where these people came from. It's crazy. I know. And his brother's name was Jabal. He was the father of all that handled harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass, and so blacksmith and whitesmith. Or no, yep, blacksmith. And what was a whitesmith? Whitesmith is copper, right? Wait. Let me check. A whitesmith is a whale worker who finishes metal worker, iron and steel, such as. So then, what's a blacksmith? Light-colored metals. There were blacksmiths on Long Island. That's funny. Oh, you know what? Blacksmith. What's a coppersmith? What's a coppersmith called? Let me look up all types of smith. So he's a whitesmith then? No. Well, yeah. Blacksmith, bladesmith, brownsmith, brass and copper. So that guy is the what's his name? Tubal Cain is like a teacher who only teaches how to do. He only teaches whitesmithery. Wait. Oh shit! That fixed my chair. No, it didn't. Okay. So he teaches brownsmithery and whitesmithery. Yeah. So I guess he's just a blacksmith. No. Wait. That's dumb. Blacksmith is iron and steel. Then what's a whitesmith? Oh. Well, that was just a different name then. A whitesmith works with tin and pewter. I believe that pewter is the stuff in no, that's gypsum. Gypsum's in drywall, I think. No, unless pewter is in drywall. I don't know. And can refer to someone who polishes or finishes metal rather. Oh, so whitesmiths, they they like sharpen the tool or they'll clean it. A tinsmith works with tin. Oh, so they just don't forge. Locksmith works with locks. I guess that is metal, technically, at the time, and it still is. Hmm. Actually, the Egyptians had like a key, they had like a wooden keyhole. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I don't feel like doing that. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Cool. 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 And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada Azila, and hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, heartbroken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to wounding, and a young man to my heart. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son. I feel like it would be bore, and she bare a son, and called him the name Seth, appointed or put, for said she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, who Cain slew. And to slew him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. See, he had a different book in the other. He had a different name in the other one, I think. Then men began to call upon the name of the Lord. This book is the book of generations, so this is gonna be like a genealogy. So it's gonna be like it's descendants of Adam. So I guess I'll have to read this then. This is the book of. Oh, well, this is another thing. All the genealogies, the way they show it out, it shows the world to only be like 6 to 10,000 years old. So all those people who believe in this book, most of them, actually, a lot of them, a large amount of them, a large majority of them. Let's say with that, they believe that the Earth is only 10,000 years old rather than the 7 billion that it actually is, which is insane. Again, I don't know how you just dismiss something like carbon dating, and it's like, well, I don't believe that because my book that's 2,000 years old says it, and obviously this book is more true than your science, which can be proven tens of thousands of times over. If you do it 100,000 times, it'll always have the same results, but I don't care. Because I don't care enough to figure out how this stuff works. Because I had an education where I didn't actually learn any of that stuff that you should know about science, and just learned that either God did it, or just learned how it worked, not why it worked. Which is stupid. So it just leads to people believing stuff, stupid stuff. Silly, silly things. Silly, silly mythos and magic and fucking nonsense. This is why I don't think I'd make it as a politician. I can't fake being religious. People like that, apparently. Really like it. This is the book of generations of Adam. In the day that God created man in the likeness, God made him, male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their names Adam. In the day when they were created, and Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his name, his own likeness, after his image, and called him Seth. And the days of Adam, after he had the begotten son, after he had begotten Seth, were 800 years. People lived to like 1,000 back then. and he begat sons and daughters. And all the days Adam lived were 930 years. And he died. He returned to the earth, as God so eloquently put it. And Seth lived another 105 years. Oh, 105 years. And begat Enos, and Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years old. The longest a man ever lived was Methuselah. I don't know if they mention him here. He's somewhere in the Bible. I know he exists, but not that this is true. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 900 years and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Malachaleel. And Canaan lived another after he begat Malachaleel another 840 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Malachaleel lived 60 and 5 years, and begat Jared. And Malachaleel lived after he begat Jared 830 years, and begat sons and daughters. And the days that Malachaleel were 895, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. So they switched around the names. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all those days of Jared were 960 and 2 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 60 and 5 years and begat Methuselah. This is the old guy, Methuselah, I was talking about before. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 605 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not. For God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Malach 700 years and 2, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days Methuselah lived were 969. Nice. I don't think 69 is that funny though, so I don't know why I said nice. And he died. That's the oldest man to ever live according to the Bible. It's cool. Very cool. The good book, they call it. Genesis 6. Oh, Noah. It's Noah. And Lamech lived 882 years and begat a son. And it's like 2 a.m., 2:30, so I'm kind of tired right now. Or not tired, but I'm losing it a bit. So reading's going to be a little weird. And he called him Noah, rest or comfort, saying, This name shall comfort concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived to begat a son 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old. And Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The wickedness of mankind. Oh, it's the great flood. Uh-oh. Oh no, they had, they did sodomy and had premarital sex, despite that concept probably not even existing because it was never taught to them. And it came to pass, when man began to multiply on the face of the earth, the daughters were born unto them. And the sons of God saw the daughters, and the men were fair, and they took them as wives, of which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And there were giants in the earth. Yeah, the Nemophiles, or Nephilim, the Nephilim. Yeah, story of the Nephilim, the giants, as the Bible so puts it. They were angels came down after they fell from earth, and they had sex with people, and the offspring were the giants. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. The sons of God came into the daughters, and they bare children. We never found a giant skeleton, so bare children unto them. The same mighty men which were of old, men of renown, and God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart is only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on earth. Bro, what? And it repented the Lord that he had made man on earth, and grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man who have created from the face of the earth, both man and best creeping things, and fowls of the air, for it repenteth me. And I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That means Noah somehow got personal with God, and God told Noah, hey, I'm going to kill everyone, and you too, and your family. And then Noah somehow just persuaded this almighty being who knows everything that has and ever will happen to do something that he knew he would end up not doing. Crazy, right? If God is supposed to know everything that will happen and will never happen, how is Noah supposed to persuade God to do something if God already knew this conversation happened? You can't persuade somebody that knows everything that will happen and has happened, because they know everything that will happen. So they're always going to be correct in their decision making. And again, um, some people might say, well, that's why the Bible's right, because he knows that if it's written like this, and since he's all powerful, it's written like this because God chose it to be written like this. But that logic could be placed in any religion as well. You could put that into the Quran, and I can just follow Islam, or you could put it into Judaism, as it has been, and decide that, well, Jesus wasn't the real savior. You could put the same logic into Greek mythology, or into, well, not in the same way, but it could be used there. It could also use Hinduism and Sikhism, Zoroastrianism, or any of the South American religions, all the Native American religions. And, you know, like, they think the earth is flat. And, like, that's why there's such a resurgence in earth flat, because most of them are evangelical Christians, or just they want something to believe in themselves. But the ones who are evangelical Christians believe it because the Bible says it. Like, it's just, some people waste their lives on religion so much that it's just such a big problem that, like, or not a problem. Like, I see the point of religion. It's supposed to be a binding force for people in early times. I personally believe that religion was a good thing, kind of, but I think it turned into a bad thing for, like, anti-gay sentiments, which came from religion, because up until Catholicism, it was okay to walk around and, like, show your dick to people, which I don't think you should do, but nudism was a lot more acceptable before Catholicism. Same with homosexuality, which is completely normal, proven by science many times over, and yeah, these practices were just defiled by religion, is a way to put it, and you could find evidence of homosexual, like, cavemen, even, like, you'll and it's like, or transgender cavemen, because there'll be like a man skeleton with, like, all of the women buried with the women and having all the women clothing on, which is proof enough that the man held up one of the woman lifestyles, which is probably a way that they showed homosexuality and transsexuality to these people. Uh, and as I said before, they believed that it was okay to have gay sex. If you're on the top, you were still a man, and if you're on the bottom, you were just a little bit more feminine. It showed in nature. Um, Lions have gay sex for, like, pleasure. They show it to either show dominance or for pleasure, like, just because they want to, because it's like because they're gay. So it's like, dolphins, but dolphins don't do they do a form of sodomy. I think they, like, fuck the blowhole or some shit because they're, like, clitoral or some penises or something. I don't even remember. But yeah, it's kind of like, you know, dolphins will just rape anything. Like if there's a hole, they'll just fuck it. That's different. Still with the lions, the lion one holds up because even like the Greeks were okay. Well, I think the Greeks were okay with it. I know there was a gay Roman emperor. He was like before um, Constantine, of course, but was Constantine the guy? No. Yes, no. Who was the guy who brought Catholic? I forgot. I don't care. One of them brought Catholicism in, and it never left. And that's why the world is Catholic or Protestant, really now. These are generations of Noah, and I don't want to. I don't want to read this. The stupid fucking Noah walked with God. Noah begat three. I don't want to read like the genealogy. Shem, and the earth was corrupt, and God filled the earth with violence. Oh no, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold the corrupt for all the flesh and corrupted ways of the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, and the end of the earth will be filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth, and make the ark gosfer. Make the ark of gosfer wood. Room shall. If he's telling him to make the ark, like the end of the big boat. Rooms thou sh- Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it with within and without the pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of the length of the ark. Thou shalt be 300 cubits, and beneath the city, and beneath it 50 cubits, and the height of 30 cubits. Oh, breadth of it, the breadth, so like the width. So it's like a big ass boat. It's smaller than the Titanic, I think, right? Let me look. Is arc with a C or a K? It's with a K. Yeah, yeah, the Titanic. The Titanic is bigger than this. Significantly bigger than this, actually. Ah, shit. Uh, Arc versus Titanic. Yeah, here's a good picture. This is the one I had up before. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Ah, I mean, you can't. You could barely fit like 2,000. You could barely fit like the 5,000 people that were on this boat. I think it was like 5,000. You could not fit at two of every living creature on Earth onto this thing. What the fuck is this? What is that? Queen Mary the Second. Oh, I thought that was Queen Mary the Second. Oh, your mom. Oh, cause she's fat. How the dinosaurs became extinct. Damn, we're on the wrong ship. Oh, cause the Titanic sank. Yeah, like look at this. This is what I was saying before. Bigger, triple, 4 times the size, right? Almost 4 times the size. Double the length, or oh well, fuck. Double the double the size. Like yeah, like double the size pretty much. Yet this one's made of wood. This one's made of steel, right? But this one could hold 3,547 people for 3 weeks. And it sank. And it was made of metal. This one, 50,000 animals, 2 million insects, 8 people. For 1 year. Not to mention all the animals that are extinct, all the ones that are undiscovered, um, all the all the flightless birds. Like, not every bird is going to be flying around there. Probably some amphibians, right? Animals that can't live in salt water. That's theirs. They all died, right? Yet we still have freshwater animals now. I mean, again, same thing. How big would Noah's Ark actually need to be? It would need to be massive, though, right? Like, let's... Like... Yeah, doing God's work. That's, not the Tower of Babel, like the Bible says it is.
Our planet's temperatures and sea levels are rising fast. Global warming is a big problem, you might say. And big problems call for 1909 was only 2/3 the size of Noah's Ark. And even at this size, the Wyoming flexed and twisted, opening up seams in its hull, causing leaks that required pumps to keep the hold only relatively free of water. Despite these measures, it still eventually filled with water and sank in 1924. Subsequent wooden ships were reinforced with steel to ensure their seaworthiness. It's been suggested that Noah could have instead built a flotilla of smaller boats, which he could attach to one another with ropes and gangplanks. Then his fleet could move independently of each other and go with the flow of the waves rather than resisting them.
If Noah didn't have his naval engineering degree, he could always try just tying as many tree trunks together as possible and creating a giant raft. Cypress wood is about half the weight of water, so a fully submerged cubic meter of wood has enough buoyancy to support half a ton.
Because it wouldn't be cypress wood, because it had to be made of... See, this is where they ruin it. Corruption upon the earth, ending before filled with blah, 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 will destroy the earth, made the ark gopher wood. Buoyancy of gopher wood. Oh, actually, then it... What is the buoyancy? Of course, you can't look up gopher wood without the Bible. I don't even know. I think that's the King James Bible.
But let's say the floods weren't at all like the scenes from the Aronofsky film.
This movie had like fucking like
and let's instead say
golems in
that the
it.
flood meant that the water levels would slowly rise, delicately lifting the ark from the ground and then gently floating around in calm waters for the next few months. More of a serene cruise, shall we say. All we have to do now is load up all the species before the end game.
Right.
What kind of cargo capacity would the ark have without loading up all the animals before those sea levels start rising? The boffins at Leicester took the humble sheep as the average mass for the animals coming aboard, and at 23.47 kilograms,
Yeah, I would not say
pounds per sheep, the biblical ark would have been able to support 2.15 million sheep without sinking. That's of course if we're only talking about mass. That doesn't mean the ark can fit all those sheep inside. After all, the idea is to keep these animals alive, which means giving them a bit of space to live and breathe.
Oh
According
yeah,
to
they'd
official
suffocate.
UK guidance, the space a sheep should have is around 1.2 square meters, or 12.9 square
And we're not even
feet.
talking real
Plus,
sheep.
they'll need a bit
It's
of room to stand
elephants,
up in.
carnivores.
Again, to keep things simple, and to make it a cube, let's say 1.1
And he has to
meters,
feed
or
all
3.6
50,000
feet.
every day.
That means the space required to house a sheep on the Ark is about 1.33 cubic meters, or 46.9.
Some of whom are probably pregnant.
In transport, that space is lower, at 0.5 square meters, or 5.38 square feet
Poison?
per animal. We'll say 0.34 cubic meters, or 12 cubic feet. The hypothetical Ark put forward by Leicester University had a capacity of just over 50,391
What about food?
meters. That's just under 1.8 million cubic feet, or in animal terms, 37,887 sheep living in comfort, or 148,209 sheep crammed in transport style.
Huh.
All this begs the question, did Noah's Ark have enough space to do the job?
No.
Now, according to the Bible, God also laid down instructions about the number of animals he had to take with him.
Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal,
7?
male and its mate, and
Well,
1 pair of every
that's
kind
another
of
thing.
unclean animal,
Oh.
male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth.
Just how many animals is that, though? In news that should not come as a shock, religion and science once again start to disagree here.
Yeah.
Let's quickly address how biblical scholars interpret this.
The language used in the Bible here is crucial. Note how it mentions kinds of animals.
What are kinds?
This isn't particularly specific.
Yeah.
It could mean anything ranging from species all the way up to their family level in scientific taxonomy.
Uh-huh.
And there's a big difference between those classifications. At the species
Like,
level,
it could
you
come to a
take
point where
domestic
it's like,
dogs, grey
yeah.
wolves,
Yeah.
coyotes, and a range of similar species. At the opposite end of the spectrum, if it was just from the same family,
It could be
in
more-
this case Kennedy,
Yeah.
you just take a red fox.
Well, he's
and
gonna
say,
explain that. I
"That'll
don't even
do,
have to
no
talk.
need for any dogs or wolves. We've got that animal family covered."
Oh.
Anyway, what that means according to biblical scholars
Yeah.
is that Noah only had to take between 2,000 and 50,000 individual animals onto the ark to get the job done.
BS.
In which case,
Probably
there'd be
more.
more than enough space to
'Cause they
ensure
don't
the
live in
survival of
evolution.
life. Or that at least there's enough room to pack them all in until a storm hits, sinking the unseaworthy vessel, drowning the last of the remaining land dwellers.
But let's go back to our original scenario. Those pesky ice caps and rising sea levels are coming for us after all. What would it take to save all the species on Earth right now? Let's crunch the numbers.
Some of their
Pinning
DNA.
down the exact number of animal
intense
species isn't
research
easy. There
in,
could be up to 30 million species of invertebrates alone.
it's, extreme
However,
in-
a widely cited study in
extreme
2011
research in
estimated
cloning.
there were approximately 8.7 million species on Earth. Thankfully, for the construction of our Ark, we've only actually identified and classified 1.25 million of them so far.
It would be quite a challenge to get unidentified species on the boat, so they're going to get wet when the flood comes.
Right, so we're down to
Or BS.
1.25 million species. But to make things even more simple for our Ark designers, not all of those species are animals. In fact, only 950,000 of living species were classified as such, the rest being plants, fungi, protozoa, those are single-celled organisms like amoebas, and chromista, which are things like algae. And the final trick we're pulling is that only 75% of species live on land. If you're used to water, then you're on your own, or you'll need to seek refuge in one of those freshwater pockets or deep sea
Oh, I forgot
aquifers.
those exist,
The
yeah.
end result is that we need to find space for 712,500 different species on the debunked Ark. Then we come to the whole 2x2 mantra. Sure, it would technically ensure the survival of the species, but it's fair to say that the second generation of the ones after will be
Yeah.
pretty inbred. Would the 7 pairs or 14 individuals also mentioned
No,
in
you
the
need, like,
Bible be enough
50
to keep
pairs.
things healthy? Probably not. The minimum viable population, or MVP, is the lowest number a biological group can
Yeah,
fall
people
to
is like, I think
before
it's
the
100 or
chances of
50 or
extinction
something like
start
that.
to get serious. A small population
think.
might be wiped out by changes in the environment or a natural disaster, and over time, lack of genetic diversity can impact the health and adaptability of the group. In other words, the more the merrier.
Welcome to Goldbelly Studio. Jacques Perez
I don't know.
will read from
I feel like I should get YouTube Premium,
famous chocolates.
but like,
You can order them online at goldbelly.com. It's
I don't know.
so easy.
It probably isn't.
Come on, Reese's. Did you really wake up
I mean, but
looking
these
like
ads
this?
are just so annoying.
smoking.
So,
You
what
gotta
is
keep
the
up with ads
MVP for
sometimes because
animals?
there might be a reference you
Well,
don't get.
it depends.
Let's take humans. A
Like if one's like
2002
really
study by
annoying
anthropologist John Moore,
and you just
in which
never
he
hear it, and
studied
someone's
how
like,
many
"Isn't that
people would be
annoying?"
needed for a
No, I've never heard
200-year
it.
space mission.
It's like 100,
concluded
right?
You'd need
50?
a population of 160.
Ah.
Over 2 centuries,
I've heard
you're
this
looking
before.
at 8 to 10
Not this
generations.
video, I don't think, though.
But because of the small starting population, you'd end up with a diminished genetic diversity over time. To stop this genetic drift, the space travelers would need to return to Earth after 200 years to mix things up. Comparatively, a 2019 study of 36 species of freshwater fish in the Yangazi River yielded MVPs ranging from 42 to 320. Other studies have concluded average MVPs across multiple species ranging from 4,169 to 7,316. However, since the 1980s, the so-called 5,500 rule was used as a general guide for MVP.
That means
The
like
rule
all
was
these
put
animals
forward
with only
by
like
Ian
10
Franklin,
left are
an
just
Australian geneticist, and Michael
screwed.
Sule, an American biologist. They claimed 50 was the magic number
Oh, I said that
required to
before.
prevent inbreeding, and 500 was the number needed to keep genetic drift at bay. The 5,500 rule is
Called it.
questioned by many, and as we've seen, doesn't necessarily work as an easy catch-all. However, we'll go with 500, since we want to avoid genetic drift once all this flood business has died down.
So you need a
That
ton
means
of
we need
arcs.
500 individuals for each of these 712,500 land animals, leaving us with an ark that has to carry 356.3 million animals.
Yeah.
Noah's Ark suddenly seems really cramped, even in business class.
Now I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, but he also carry bugs.
Stew, not all animals are the size of sheep.
And it's a good point. Just 3 to 5% of animals are vertebrates, meaning our ark has about
Unless you count a
28,500
bug.
species that would be in sheep range.
There's a ton of bugs.
How much space would they need?
At 0.34 cubic meters or 12 cubic feet per animal and 500 animals per species, we're looking at 4,845,000 cubic meters or 171,099,560 cubic feet, if we're crabbing them in transport style. Well, we still have 96% of animals needing a home, but the good news is that invertebrates aren't massive. So if we say all invertebrates aboard have the average size of the common pavement ant, around 3 mil or 0.1 inch in length, how much space are these little ones going to need? Alternatively, if we're being more generous, we could base our invertebrate section on the Megaloblatta longipennis,
Well,
which holds the world record for the largest
ants, they have like
cockroach
hive.
at 97 millimeters in length.
Bees are gonna be annoying. How do you stop them from
Across.
breeding?
That would leave us needing this. For quick maths,
How do you
and
stop
to
any
make
of it?
sure there's enough space for all the terrifying bird-eating tarantulas, well,
Not to
say our
mention, some are
debunked
gonna get
ark
eaten
needs
when they get off
5
the
million
ark, so it's
cubic
not like
meters.
you're gonna need
That's
more
a
than
little
that.
over 176.5 million cubic feet, which is a long way of saying that Noah's Ark is too small to save life on Earth. We need a fleet of 100 arks, or a larger flotilla, or even smaller wooden arks, as our structural engineer previously suggested.
Have humans ever come close to building a gargantuan 5 million cubic metre vessel? No, but we've probably come closer than you think.
Take the Sea-Wise Giant, which was constructed way back in 1979. The vessel was 458
I
meters,
know about
or
this boat.
1,504 feet long, 30 meters,
I don't know
or
if it's the
98
biggest.
feet deep, and 69 meters, or 225 feet wide, giving it a rough capacity of 937,000 cubic meters, or over 33 million cubic
Notice
feet.
how it only has one like escape boat? Probably another on the other side. These things are like carrier ships. They're only manned by like a couple people. Which is like so weird to think that like just a couple people can man something so large, and yet it's so possible and just common and easy that like someone can control something the size of like a building and just move it around as they please.
It wasn't a practical ship, however. When fully loaded, it was 624 meters, nearly 75 feet below the ocean's surface, and it was so big, it couldn't navigate the English Channel, the Panama Canal, or the Suez Canal.
Oh, so
and
just
it was
useless.
longer than the Empire State Building is tall.
The bad news, it was scrapped for metal in 2010.
No.
So we'll need to build a new ark in time for the next great flood. Well, actually, 5 of them.
But wait, what about feeding the beasts? Well, Noah's Ark
Yeah, I
was
was
afloat
thinking
for
that.
150 days.
Forgot
And
about
keeping
that.
with our control source, a sheep would consume 150 kilograms of grass over that period, whereas your average common ant would only consume up to 0.0015 kilograms. That would leave us with 3,420 kilograms of food for all our invertebrates and a whopping 51.3 billion kilograms for all our vertebrates.
a
That's
lot.
56 million US tons. The world's largest container vessel can theoretically carry around 232 million kilograms of cargo. That's over 256,000 US tons, meaning we'd need 195 of these to keep our passengers alive over the 150-day voyage. Blimey.
We've relaunched our Patreon rewards, and now you can do anything from helping us make more content and receiving exclusive merchandise to getting your own character and featuring in an episode. Please click on the button or the link in the description and see what
Yeah.
fits your fancy.
I didn't even have to debunk that one myself. I think I already did though. Oh, that's what they're called, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. Bible reading? Set. Time is at 3 a.m. God damn. What is this?
I got you a little present.
Oh, is that Nelson? Stewie, what the deuce?
Yes, oh, that's nice. You got that from me. Because, I was starting to worry this was a one-way thing.
You kidnapped him?
I kidnapped all your enemies. Nelson, Jimbo, Principal Skinner, Sideshow Bob, Apu. I know Apu's not your enemy, but I just wanted to say I took Apu.
That is funny, but the rest of this is messed up, man.
I know, isn't it awesome? So, how do you want to keep in touch? Facebook? Twitter? Late-night phone calls lying on our tummies with our feet up in the air?
Stewie, I don't think we can be friends. You freak me out.
But if we don't keep in touch, I'll kill myself.
That's what I'm talking about. Later, dude.
Later, dude.
It's funny. Very funny. Family Guy and Bart Simpson. Yeah, I'm just looking at a post Lucas made. Sam podcast. Bible reading. Gonna drop soon. Includes awesome one man commentary and I don't know how many more chapters should I read. No, I'm not even talking to anyone. Yeah. How long is this? 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Habla en su idioma. Estadounidense.
Oh, he's speaking in English. We are speaking English.
Y él es otro.
English gang, let's go, baby. Can I get baptized?
Son
More. Want to get baptized? It's like Mormons in Uruguay, and they're like speaking English and like they're on a gang signs, and they're like, "Want to get baptized?" Sheesh, that's what they're like saying. I find that annoying though. It's kind of funny though. What is that? No. Okay. Back to the reading. Go for wood, fashion. A window shalt thou make to the ark, 1 cubit thou shalt. I don't want to read this. I'm gonna read it. I'm just gonna skip like the instruction manual for the ark. Oh, here's the covenant. Okay. But with thee I will establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives and thee. And for every living thing of all my flesh, 2 of every sort thou shalt. Oh, they use the word sort instead of kind. Oh, every word that they change, they put in italics, I think. Like them, sort, and. Yeah. Thou should bring into the ark and keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls of every kind, and cattle of every kind, and creeping things of every kind. 2 of every sort shall be put into them and keep alive. See, Genesis 7. I was just reading that in my head. And take thou unto thee all foods that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it with thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded, so did he. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come, thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take. We went over this in the other, in like the video, so I'm not gonna read this. I think Noah was 600 years old. They're doing this because the world is full of sins, and God was like angry because there was too many sins and stuff, you know. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wives, and his sons' wives, and his into the ark, because the waters of the flood, and of the clean beasts, and the beasts that are not clean, and the fowls of every creepeth thing upon the earth. There went into, and 2 and 2 into the ark. I'm gonna end it soon. And the male and the female, and God commanded Noah. It came to pass, after 7 days, that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In 600th year of Noah's life. In the 600th year of Noah's life, it was the 2nd month and the 17th month. And it was the 17th day of the month. There were all fountains, and the same day fountains, and the great deep were broken up, and the heaven opened up. The rains came upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. Oof. Pretty bad. In the self-same day entered Noah, and Shem and Ham, and Japheth, and the sons of Noah and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons into the ark, and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and all the creeping and creepeth things upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort, and they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, and wherein is the breath of life. And they went in male and female, of flesh, as God had commanded him. And the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, bare of the ark. And it was lifted above the earth, and the waters prevailed, and was increasing greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the faces of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth. And all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered 15 cubits upward, and the water prevailed, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died and moved upon the earth, both fowl of cattle and beast, and of every man creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils the breath of life, all of whom dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the earth and the ground, both man, cattle, and creeping things, and the fowl of the heavens, they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah remained alive, and they were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. And God remembered Noah and everything, and every living thing, and all the cattle that was in the ark, and God made the wind pass over the earth, and the waters assurged. Assuaged. I don't know what that word is. I'm not going back to it either. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from the earth continuously. Returned from off the earth, and I just made a loud noise. So then it's like 3 a.m. Oops. Whatever. Give me a minute. Right back. I didn't have to wait for that. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go put like a towel under the door so that it blocks off sound a little bit better. I don't know how to say back in Spanish. I was about to say I'm back, but I was about to say like soy back, but I don't know how to say back. So soy. I forgot to say return. I knew how to say return. I also know how to say back. I think whatever. Soy. Here. Soy sauce. Soy. Okay, ready? Ready. Let's go. And the fountains also of the deep and the windows of the heaven stopped and were restrained. The waters returned from off the earth continually. After the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested on the 7th month of the 17th day upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased until the 10th month. In the 10th month, the first day, and the tops of the mountains could be seen. And it came to pass in the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. Oh God, I'm tired. Okay, I think I'm ending it soon. I guess I'll end it right before Abraham. Yeah, I'll end it before Abraham. No, should I do the Tower of Babel? The Tower of Babel? I think I should do the Tower of Babel. Nah. Save it for next time. Tower of Babel. He sent forth a raven. Yeah, I can't. Oh, God. And he sent forth a raven, which went forth and fro, until the waters were dried up of the earth. Also he sent forth a dove, from which to be seen, to see if the waters were abated, and from off the faces of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him on the ark. For the waters were on the face of the whole earth. And he put forth his hand and took her, and pulled her into the ark, and stayed there yet another 7 days. And again he set forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came back in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off, and no one knew the waters were abated from the earth, because the olive leaf was from a tree, and there can't be trees if there's water. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and set forth to the dove, which returned again, not again to him any more. And it came to pass, in the 600th of the first year, in the first month of the first day of the month, and the waters dried up off the earth, and Noah removed the covering from the ark, the covering of the ark, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month of the 7th day, the 20th day of the month, the earth was dried. And God spoke unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, and thy wife, thy sons, and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth thee every living thing that is with thee of all flesh, both fowl and of cattle, and of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wives and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, every fowl, and every whatsoever creepeth upon the earth after their kinds, went out of the ark. And Noah builded an altar. He builded an altar unto the Lord, and took every cleanest beast from every cleanest fowl, and offered the burnt offering to the altar. And the Lord smelled the sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground for man's sake, for the imagination of the man in his heart is evil. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more any living things, as I hoped to have done, while the earth remained seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, the day's night shall not cease. Day and night shall not cease. So he's saying he's not going to end the world, which he also says he's never going to flood them again, which he does. Like, tsunamis are so common. They just weren't common there. So, stories like the Great Flood are common across many religious texts, which is why people believe that it's real. And that, like, this is the story, but, like, why not the other stories? Why don't, like, the Epic of Gilgamesh is older than the Bible yet, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. And that has a flood. It's about a flood, I'm pretty sure. And people say, well, that's just proof that the Bible's real. But why can't it be proof that the Epic of Gilgamesh is real? Which it isn't. It's proof that none of this is real. The only thing it proves is that there was one really big flood at some point that was, like, really, really bad. And the people that survived the really bad flood remember it and told the story, and eventually that story turned into the story of the Flood of Gilgamesh and hundreds of other variants of the flood story, which then makes it seem like it's a reliable source and that it's reliable that God's wrath created a massive flood to cleanse human of sins, when in reality there was just a really big flood that a lot of people happened to remember and told that story, and that story happened to just be popular and spread across multiple cultures. And yeah, I mean, let me just fix my screen. Okay. Yeah, that's just where it comes from, because, like, yeah, the big flood, yeah, whatever. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth, and the fear of you dread that and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon every moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. In your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth on the earth, that liveth, shall be meant for you. Even as the herb have I of... Jesus Christ, okay. Even as the green herb have I given all things. But flesh with the life therefore of, which is the blood, therefore ye shall not eat. But flesh with life therefore is which the blood therefore... I don't know what that means. And surely your blood of your lives will require at hand of every beast I will require, and at the hand of man. At the hand of every man's brother will I require the man of who shed a man's blood by man. By man shall his blood be shed for the image of God. And I'm tired. In the image of God was made man. And be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. And God spake, bruh. And God spake unto Noah and to his sons, with him saying, you know, in these 2.5 hours, I probably could have written down so much Sam lore. So much. I probably could have done the Great Flood. I probably could have done the Tower of Babel for Sam. I probably could have done it. I probably could have gotten up to the Battle of Jericho. Probably not, but oh shit, no, I definitely wouldn't have gotten up to the Battle of Jericho. I would have maybe gotten to Exodus. But I've skipped a bunch of chapters. I'm gonna start skipping chapters, honestly. You know, in Sam lore, because a lot of them, nothing happens, nothing of note happens, nothing needed happens. What was I gonna do? I'm reading, right? And God spake unto Noah and his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, of every beast in the earth with you, from all that go out of dark to every beast of this earth, and I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all the flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood, neither shall there be any more flood to destroy the earth. Oh, this is him saying that there's going to be no more floods. Then I have no idea what he was saying before. This is him saying there's no floods. And God said, there are floods, obviously, still. So it's a lie. God broke his covenant. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set animals go extinct. There's no such thing as perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud. Rainbow, he's saying. I do set my bow in the cloud, and I shall make it as a token of my covenant between you. So this is how rainbows form. This is how rainbows started to form. He's saying that God invented rainbows so that he remembers that like he spared a couple of people during the flood. Really, it would mostly remind me the fact that he killed millions because they were having fun. You know, fun, doing stuff they like to do. It's just silly, really. I'm trying to see if my sound thing will go down. It says that there's whatever. You don't see the thing I'm looking at right now, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. So he's saying that whenever there's a rainbow, it's him being like, "Hey guys, remember when I didn't kill your grandpa? Yeah, that was me. Yeah, you're welcome." So, and it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant which is between me and you, and every living creature that is flesh in the water shall become, the flood will destroy all flesh, whatever. He won't do more floods. And the bow shall be in the clouds, and I will look upon it, that I may remember everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of flesh upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all the flesh that is upon the earth. The end. Well, that's the Holy Bible for you. If you've enjoyed, please like the video, please subscribe and leave a comment. If this video gets 3 likes, I will do another Solo Sam podcast video where I read the Bible. I might have a guest on. Yeah. Oh shit, this is the same chapter. I was making a joke, by the way. I wasn't gonna end it, probably. What? I don't remember this. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. It's not that good. This is where I remember Ham from. And the sons of Noah went forth to the ark, were Shem and Ham and Jebedath. And Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah. And of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and drank wine, and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without. And Shem and Shebeth took a garment, and laid it upon both their shoulders, and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backwards, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew that his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan. I don't know why he's doing this. A servant of servants shall be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the Lord of Shem. Bro, what is that? Oh, God of Shem. Okay. And Canaan shall be the servant. God shall enlarge Japheth. I'm gonna just wait for it to pass a little bit. I think it's at a good pace, but it needs a little bit of a head start so I could read it at a good tempo. Not tempo, like speed. I don't know. I don't care. I'm tired. God shall enlarge Jebedath and dwell within the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. That chapter was extremely unnecessary. Or that section, that subchapter, that arc, Noah's drunkenness arc. Kind of stupid. That's it. I guess that's it. If that says Genesis 10, I think I am going to end it. We'll see. Yeah. Oof. Unless this is the Tower of Babel, we're done. Sorry. Ooh, Tower of Babel? Oh, this is just a genealogy. A long one at that. I guess I'll read this then. God, this is one of the long ones. Right? Ugh. Yeah, I'm just gonna like skim it and say some notable things. So the families of the nations. Okay, wait. Okay. Gentiles are non-Jews. So, which doesn't make any sense because everybody is not a Gentile at this point because there's no Jews. Because Jews only come after Abraham when he's the God. This is saying they all spoke the same language. One after his tongue. Everyone after his tongue, I think. And Cush, Havilah, Sabit. These are all the sons of Ramad, Didin, Cush, and Cush begot Nimrod. He became a mighty one of the earth. He was a mighty hunter of the Lord. Nimrod. Even as Nimrod, a mighty hunter of the Lord. At the beginning of the... Oh, this is the Tower of Babel. At the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. Oh, Nimrod is the guy who started Babel. So that means this one is the Tower of Babel. Oh, wait. This is actually important. Yeah, these guys come out. Okay, yeah, this is very important actually. So know that Nimrod made Babel, the land of Shinar. That comes up at some point, I think. So know that these guys made Shinar. I guess you don't need to know that, but just know that these places exist. Yeah, they made this guy. Let's see. I think. Oh no, that's a guy. So these guys, the Philistines, they are they come up a lot. They're like they actually kick the Jews out at some point of like the promised land after they get there. Spoiler alert, sorry, I shouldn't have said that they get there. My fault. But yeah, they kick them out. These guys like went everywhere. Yeah, so this Sodom and Gomorrah, that's an important place later on. You may have heard the story. They have gay sex, which isn't actually what happened in the original version of the Bible, but they changed it to say that. So you know, they had gay sex and it was bad. I should say, which is not the original version. Which is where the word sodomy comes from, because Sodom is like non-vaginal sex. So like oral, anal, I think hand, foot, armpit, nose, ear, eye sex. Uh, like in between your calf and your thigh. I don't know, penis sword fighting. Toes. Those are all sodomy, I think. Yeah. So these guys made Sodom and Gomorrah, where they supposedly like to have anal sex, which didn't exist really, technically. These are the sons of Ham after their families and their tongues, and of their nations. Unto Shem, also the father of all children of Eber, and the brother of children born. Just a bunch of people. Honestly, these are the families of Noah and the generations. Damn it, the Tower of Babel. How long is the Tower of Babel? Yeah, no, we can read the Tower of Babel. We have time. We got time. We got time. Shit. We got time. We got time. Let's go. Okay. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as the journey from east, that they found plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, that's like what they use to stick the stones together or the bricks together. They said, go, let us build us a city, and a tower whose top will reach heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the faces of the earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children and the men had built. And the Lord came down to this. Build it. I hate build it. I hate to do that. Build it. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and they all begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go, let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon, and the face of all the earth. And they left off to build the city. Thereafter is the name of what they called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language. There confound the language of all people of the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the faces of the earth. So, basically what happened here these people, like Nimrod made the city of Babel, and they were like, let's build this big city. We got these new technology, like we got all these bricks. Let's go use the bricks. We'll cook the bricks in an oven, burn them thoroughly, and we'll make them stone. And slime is like cement that holds together. Not cement, obviously. The Romans invented cement. Actually, funny story about cement. We actually lost cement. Like we lost it. Like we lost the ingredient book, and all the people who knew how to make it died. Because like it was in the Library of Alexandria, which they had it written down, but that got burned down by Alexander the Great. I think. I think I'm wrong about who burnt it down, but still, one of the greatest losses in the history of the world, really. Library of Alexandria. Why would Alexander the Great burn down a library named for him? I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it was Alexander the Great. Yeah. So we lost this original thing for cement because like the Romans had cement, and then like we reinvented cement, and then we're like, how did the Romans have cement? And yeah, their cement had like some cool rock in it, because their cement is like better than ours. Their cement can like withstand seawalls and actually become stronger with salt water, unlike regular cement. Whatever. Back to this, and yeah, they did that. They got the stones and stuff, and they started to build a tower. And they wanted to build a tower so they could reach God and like say hi to him and be like, "Yo, what's up? We're just like you. We're a good friend." And God's like jealous, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm the only one who could be the best God ever." And what's stupid about it is that he, you know, what's stupid about it is that he's like an all-knowing God who knows everything that's ever happened and ever will happen. Shouldn't be like, dudes, why, what, you guys can't try to be like me. You guys can't succeed. I'm the only one who can do that. It's just so petty of an all-knowing being. The fact that I'm not an all-knowing being, and I'm not that petty. Well, that's not very humble of me to say, but I am not that petty. I am not as petty as him. I probably am pretty petty, but this guy just makes it seem like it's a job, because it is. No one can even say they're anything like me, other than the fact that I say that we're created in your image. But even that, I barely like you guys saying that. But I don't like that. I don't like that I created you guys in my image. Like I like it. I like being able to say that I created you in my image. But when you say it, like he seems like the type of guy to like tell them something like, "Oh, I created you in my image," and then be like pissed off about it and be like, "Yeah, but like, don't compare yourself to me. Don't even say you're anything like me, really." Which you're allowed to say. Obviously, you're allowed to say like, "Oh, you were created in my image," but it seems like something he wouldn't want them to say. But anyway. So they wanted to build a tower to meet God, Tower of Babel, and God's like, you know what? I'm not gonna let you guys do this. You can't try to be like me. Come on. That's the lesson. The lesson of the story is don't try to be good. Don't try to innovate. Don't try to get good. So they do that. They're like, yeah, let's not get good. Or no, that's not what happens. Sorry, I'm just tired. They're like, God's like, yeah. So God makes every single one of them speak a different language from one another. And that's where languages came from. Right? Yeah? It's not like we have an entire genealogy of languages. Yeah, it's not like we can just compare where languages came from based on a chart, It's not like we can't just tell the base language, right? Oh, wait a second. We can. What? Crazy? No way. That's kind of blurry. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's not like, what? What? You serious? No way. Oh, what? No way that this exists. They weren't all just created. This is the one I was looking for. They weren't all just created at the same time. What? They don't all have a literal genetic heritage of languages. What? I swore that this is what existed. I didn't know that they were all just created at once. It's not like we could just see who speaks what language based on common variables between the languages, right? Oh, that's fucking code. Like, look, it's not like, like, look at this. It's not like, you can obviously see the original European languages spread off depending on the location, and they have common area right here until it goes down into here, which is Romance, which is Latin, which spreads off into Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Indian. There was actually, speaking of Romance languages, English is not a Romance language. They come from Germany actually. Slavic languages, Indo-Iranian, the Punjabi, Persian. Yeah, I always like looking at this chart. I don't know where Japanese is on this chart. I know they're their own separate thing. Asia, they have their own separate, or not Asia, but a lot of them do. I think, from what I can remember. Yeah, like Germanic, and then it goes down. It's like weird. That's why German and English are so similar because they have all these in between. But I actually want to look closer to my screen and see what language I can't read what language that is. But yeah, like you can see the genetic heritage, but you think there were only these Romance languages, but Romance languages came about when, so everyone used to speak Latin, or a lot of people. That was like the universal, that was the common tongue, as someone put it. And if you wanted to read, you had to learn Latin. So a lot of places just spoke Latin. That was like the main language. It came from Rome, spread across everywhere Rome was. But when the Roman Empire fell, was no longer needed, and eventually the people that spoke Latin, their languages will slowly change over time until we got different languages like Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French. All these languages have the same, like, similar rules, similar existences, but the thing about Romance languages is they have all these similarities, but there were probably hundreds of other Romance languages, well, not hundreds, but probably like dozens of other Romance languages that just aren't spoken anymore because they died out. Like, I read this article on an African Romance language that existed in like northern Africa where they spoke Latin. It existed for like a short period of time. It eventually died out and was replaced by Arabic. But it was very interesting to like just see that like what a major impact the Roman Empire had on just the world as itself. Like, I know it's just, the creation of the Roman Empire was probably not true, like, Romulus and Remus, they made they were raised by wolves, and they killed each other on the wall or whatever. But, yeah, it's just crazy, It's just like a common thing, just being something so complicated, just being able to be traced back all this time. Just connections, common ancestors, like a genetic tree, Like, let me find it. Yeah, Iranians here. Yeah, look, Latin. So, Italic to Latin, right? And then Latin's the common language. Goes down here. So we got French. Italian. Spanish. Portuguese. Catalan. I think that's Romanian. And, yeah. But then you got all these, like, Modern English, Middle English, Old English, Middle Low German. Yeah, I don't speak whatever German that is. I actually probably could pronounce it correctly, but it's blurry. So it kind of just looked like that sound to me, Old Saxon, Middle Lower, and then... That's the modern one, though. I think, right? Yeah. Lower Franciscan, Middle Dutch, Franconian, not Franciscan. Old Frisian, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Just interesting to me. So yeah, so he mixed up all their languages, so then they couldn't talk to each other, so then they couldn't, like, team up, because he knows that, like, if they're teamed up, they have the power, all these people have the power to get to God, because, like, they can work together, but now they can't work together to build the tower, because they don't understand each other. And that's where languages came from. And that's why I find the story so interesting, because of just concept of languages. And I'm not going to read the descendants of Shem, I don't think. What should be love? Daughters, 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 sons, daughters. Descendants of Terah, blah, blah, blah. Daughters, sons, of the Chedi. And this is Abraham. Story of Abraham. He actually started his name as Abram and changed it to Abraham. Okay, this is where we're ending for today. Well. Whew. Well, I hope we enjoyed this little endeavor that we've done today. Read the first 12 books of the Bible. I hope it was... Why wasn't this call the whole time? Whoops. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable. I hope you could hear it, because I wasn't talking very loud for most of it. So turn up your volume if it's not good. Sam lore, pretty cool. Bible. Current time is 3:45 a.m. Meaning that I've been up this for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Sorry, that's not even correct. 45 plus 45, hour and a half. So 2.5 hours, pretty much. Probably something like that. I don't care. Since 1:30, I mean, I have the time right here. 3 hours and 1 minute, but since Lucas left. Let's say Lucas left at like 1:10. 1:10 was 45 minutes. 110 plus 45. That's not correct either. Fuck me. Yes, it is. 150. 155. Let's just go with 150. An hour 50. 155 minutes. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. I don't care. Yeah, I'm just tired, I think. I'm trying to do math at like fucking, not even whole number math, base 60 for minutes. Fucking. Well, I hope you enjoy this episode of the Sam Podcast. This is a new concept that I've done, I guess, and I hope it's actually enjoyable to watch. If not, I guess we won't be doing a Bible read aloud anymore, and we might have to do a Bible read aloud Q&A, where I have someone else here, and I actually just talk to them about the concepts, because if there's no discord between two people, it might be less entertaining, but at the same time, people watch commentary YouTubers all the time, and reaction YouTubers. I'm just a reaction YouTuber to the Bible, you know? Or a commentary YouTuber to the Bible, and I just happen to go on a lot of tangents. Yeah. I don't, of course, when I'm also talking like I have an audience. I'd be lucky if, like, Ninka watched this. It's just gonna be Lucas. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Sam Podcast, and, there's Declan logging off.